Hey, Mega Moms, Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And today I'm going to talk about how you can create that business that you love. We'll discuss why I got into real estate, what I love about real estate, and how you can fall in love with your real estate business, avoiding burnout and the feeling of overwhelm. Man, we're talking about a lot today. And I know that this is a topic that you will enjoy and find very helpful. I cannot tell you how many times I hear our students tell me, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle doing all this real estate with managing my household and my kids. Why am I doing this in the first place? So, I just want you to do a little bit of soul searching. I'm going to share some of my story, what I love about my business, what it looks like today, so that I really can love it, and how you can. What are some steps you can take to either choosing to go all in real estate and love your business, treat it like a business, set it up like a business, or if it's not something you love, don't do it, right? I mean, that's okay too. You can choose a different path for your life. No one's holding you hostage to have this real estate business. But if you're listening to this podcast, more than likely you've weighed your options and you've decided this is the direction you need to go. Why? Because we have the amazing flexibility. You have this ability to make so much money. So, hear me out. If this is the path that you're on, there is a way for you to set your life up and set your business up in a way that you're not going to feel burned out and overwhelmed. And some of it is a personal choice, okay? Sometimes you just have to be mentally tough and make the choice that you're not going to allow yourself to stay in that feeling of overwhelm and burnout, because trust me, everyone gets there. You're going to have off days, you're going to have bad days. I am not saying this business is perfect. This world isn't perfect. We don't deal with perfect people. But what I am saying is you can make the choice to love your business. We're going to talk about why I got into real estate in the first place. As many of you know, I got licensed in 2003. So that's been 20 years ago now. And it was pretty much by accident. It wasn't something I intended to do. I was only 18 years old, fresh out of high school, and my dad had bought a real estate class and wasn't able to do it due to some extenuating circumstances, which I have discussed on the show, but that's not the point of this podcast. So we're not going to go into it. But some pretty life altering events took place, and he couldn't take the class anymore. So he said, why don't you take it? I'm like, you know what? I might as well. I have nothing else going on this summer. I'll do it. So I drove back and forth from Stillwater to Oklahoma City 3 weekends in a row. I believe it was a Keller Williams that I went to, and passed my exam the first time at Oklahoma City, where the headquarters was. And back then, listen, this is how old I am. Back then, it was actually fill in the blank. I had to circle the little dots with the pencil. Okay. So that's when I started. And, in the beginning, it was definitely by accident, but I came to love it really quickly. I loved being in control of my schedule. I still do. I love being my own boss. I love being able to decide what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. And it was just fun. I felt like I was doing something kind of important, helping people with a big financial decision, and got to look at houses. How many times have you heard that, right? Maybe you yourself have said it in the past when you first got licensed. Oh, I just love looking at houses. And 20 years later, that's not why I'm doing this business anymore, but that's just a side note. So that's why I got into it. Then the market crash happened, life happened for me. And so I ended up getting out of the business for a little while after the market crash. I believe it was in 2009 that I went to work as a financial advisor at Arvest Asset Management. And I got my Series 7 and 66 and my life and health insurance licenses, and really kind of got to know the trust world, was dealing with a lot of people's finances. And it was so good for me. I'm really glad I took that break and stepped away and got to understand a different aspect of this business and our world, the financial world. So that was awesome. And then fast forward a little bit, I had my son. So Henry was born in 2012. My husband and I had been married for 7 years at that time. I was seriously wondering if we were ever going to be able to have a baby. And it was really hard, those 7 years to find out month after month that we weren't expecting. It was just a really tough time. And God blessed. And we were so, so excited. So when he came along in 2012, at that time, I was working at an insurance office and I was doing property and casualty insurance. And again, I'm really glad I got to understand that side of it because now that I'm back into real estate full time, it's helpful to be able to walk my clients through the home insurance policies and process and all of that. So I didn't want to go into that office anymore after I had my son. And so I decided to stay home. I basically quit working as much as I could for about a year. And it was terrible. We were broke. Things were not going as planned or as we wanted to. In this world, you almost need two incomes to survive. But I knew I didn't wanna put Henry into full-time daycare. Like, I wanted every minute with this kid. I was just so, so grateful and thankful for him. So, I decided, "You know what? I'll just give real estate another try. I have all this other experience. I think I can do it now." Right? So, 2014, I made that conscious decision to go back into real estate, and then my broker passed away that summer, and it was very unexpected. He had pancreatic cancer. By the time they caught it, he was so far advanced, he died within 2 weeks of his diagnosis. So he didn't have a lot of time to plan or prepare, and he didn't have a broker, successor in place for his brokerage. And at that time, I was a broker in Oklahoma, but not in Kansas. So I couldn't just take it over. So I moved my license to another company temporarily, and I let her know when I went there that I was gonna be getting my license and that I wanted to just go out on my own, which, by the way, was kind of crazy anyway, but like I said, at this point, we had decided we're going all in on real estate, we're gonna do it. So January 2015, opened my own brokerage, and with not a huge track record of success, but enough life experience and determination that I was gonna make it happen. And 2015 became the number one agent in my market, which was such a huge blessing. And it got me addicted to this business. It got me addicted to the income that it could provide and the flexibility and the impact I can make on my clients. So, what I love about my business today and why I chose to get into it or to stay in it with a baby. So, at that time when we opened our brokerage, my son was only 2.5. And, the reason is I didn't want to go get a 9 to 5. I knew that this was the only way we could make any kind of money. But I did know I had to treat it like a business. So I decided when I opened my brokerage, I was there every day. Now, Henry was with me most of the time. Henry was with me, but I showed up and I worked every day. It was intentional. I treated it like a job. And that is what you have to do. Now, you don't have to do 40 hours a week. That is a total myth. You can build your business while your kids are in school. You can do it from 8 to 3 and have an amazing, thriving business. Trust me, that's really what my business looks like today. And you can do that without having help, although having help is awesome and I love it. I have my micro team, and the way my business looks today is just I can't imagine my life any differently. I have someone to help me with almost every aspect of my business, and I get to show up in my business as my best self. Now, you may be thinking, that sounds great, Jess, but I'm not there yet, so I don't have the help. So how can I fall in love with my business with just me as a solo agent? You can't. And this is how. So you need to set up your day like you are going to a regular job. You need to have a plan and a schedule. This is why, like, one of the first things I go through with my students is their calendar. I want to see, where are you spending your time? And are you truly honoring your calendar? Are you actually intentional about the appointments that you put on there? Or are you just kind of playing around and like, oh, yeah, this is Legion time? And like, you don't really honor it. You don't really have that appointment with yourself. So if that's you, I'm going to ask you to stop. you're not going to fall in love with this business until you truly treat it like a business. Why? Because you will be on that constant hamster wheel and you're going to feel burned out because things aren't going to go the way you want them to go. If you don't have a repeatable system that you are following day in and day out, and have a process that you're taking your clients through, both buyers and sellers, where you're not forgetting little things, you're not, holes aren't being missed, right? That's when I feel most of us have that issue, is when things aren't going as we plan. We get burned out when people are upset. Most of the time, that's because we've bypassed our plan in some way, or we took a listing that we shouldn't have, or we started working with a buyer that we shouldn't have. You have to have your own boundaries set up in place so that you know who you will work with, how you will work with them, and what you're going to deliver to them. It's just as much of a boundary for them as it is for you. So that is my biggest advice here to you, to fall in love with your business, is to have a start time and an end time, to develop repeatable systems that you can repeat daily. So that's going to include things like, okay, this is how I post. This is how and when maybe you post on your social media so you can attract a business. These are the people that I call to get business. So your lead generation time, maybe that's your past clients. Maybe it's circle prospecting for you. Maybe it's being involved in the community. Every business looks different, and that's what's beautiful about this real estate world, is we can all set up our businesses with something that's true and authentic for ourselves. So, something that I'm really big about here at Mega Moms is helping you set your business up. I really would call us more of business coaches. That is what we do, that is our specialty. We are here to help you create that system and structure so that you understand what you're doing. Now, as far as the marketing goes and the lead gen and the scripts, we do have resources for you on those, but there are so many out there. So, my advice to my clients is always pick two, pick three, and then marry that for the year. Don't deviate. Come back to the business, the basic business principles that we teach, and then you can fill it in and kind of add on these other layers as icing on the cake, if you will. Because you're going to have something that works in your market that's different than works in another market. Big cities versus little cities, or rural communities, or whatever. Like, we all have different things that work for us. But the principle remains the same. You have to be consistent. Whatever you decide to do, be consistent. Put it on your calendar. Do it day in, day out. That will help you understand, is it working? Are you tracking the right things to know if it's working? How do you know it's working or not? Right? Just because you don't have a closing right that month doesn't mean that lead gen process or system that you've developed isn't working. Some lead gen processes, like farming, for example, may take 6 months, 9 months to a year to see a payoff. But if you give up in month one or month three, then you just totally wasted your money. It's gone down the drain, right? So those are things that I want you to consider when falling in love with your business and setting your real estate business back up. Those are really the biggest things here. I just want you to remember, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a plan, if you don't, that's what I go back to. Anytime I feel burned out or unsure or insecure, what makes me feel better is to go back to a piece of paper or an Excel spreadsheet and type it out and create my plan, knowing my numbers, knowing where my money's going. Am I getting a return on my investment? Am I going on enough appointments? I've said this so many times, but it bears repeating. If you don't know how many phone calls you have to make in a week to get so many connections, to get so many appointments, to get so many transactions for the year, then you really don't understand your business. And that's something we can help you with. We have a calculator for that. We have a whole program and a whole, we call it business in a box, that we've developed that really helps you build your business. Hey, by the way, that's what we do, right? We're business coaches for real estate agents. And so if you don't know, then please reach out to me. I can help you with that. But it's really simple. If I want to close 100 a year, which is my goal, that's kind of my typical number, I need to go on 3 to 7 appointments. Could be listing, could be buyers, it doesn't matter. I have a mix. And so 3 to 7 appointments every week. Now you're asking where are those appointments coming from? I have my lead gen sources. 70% of my, and this is why I know my business, right? And I'm encouraging you to know 70% of my business comes from my past clients, repeat and referral business. We generate those by staying in touch with our past clients through a very specific 52 touch plan. So we're in touch with our past clients a ton. And then the rest of it comes from other lead sources like social media. And then we also do some farming. So those right now are our primary sources. Of course, we rank high on Google. Been doing this a while, and I have some great SEO on there. And then we get some sign calls and things like that. So we have some miscellaneous stuff. But that's where my business comes from. And that's how, if we're consistent on our pillars of business, then I will go on that many appointments every week, 3 to 7. If you can't explain your business to me like that, if you don't have like a very concise, this is how many I need, this is where my business is coming from, this is how I'm getting it, let me know because I can help you develop that. That will take out the burnout. That will take out the overwhelm when you truly understand. I really believe most agents out there that are feeling this burnout, it's not because you're spread too thin or because this business is too hard. It's because you don't understand your business. Because if you understood it better, you would be able to be more efficient with your time. Okay, well, I hope this podcast was helpful. I'm excited to bring our next podcast with Stephanie Sockberger. So be on the lookout for that this Wednesday. We are going to be talking about success by design. So make sure to tune into that. It's going to be really great and eye-opening for you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.